Hey everybody, this is Everything Under the Sun. I'm here with Allie and Mallory and Jaden. Hey guys. Okay.
I couldn't do it.
We talked about a ton of different stuff. We talked about what weapon you would use against a murderer.
We did.
That would be trying to get you in the
Shia
woods.
LaBeouf.
You remember if you were
All the way back
deserted
at the
in the
beginning of the
woods?
conversation.
I don't remember.
That was a long time
We talked
ago.
about what movies you would have on your desert island.
Yeah, it was pretty.
And we talked about the interns and how they got their internships. It was really cool. It got weirdly deep at the end, so you should
the
keep
end?
listening.
In the middle.
You mean the middle?
They got really
yeah,
deep
it was
in the middle.
we
Because it
talked-
got really deep, and then we were gonna get more deep, and then Blaine was like,
So,
"If you're on an island," and we were
That
like,
doesn't sound right to me.
Okay.
If you want to figure out who's lying and who's not, you
I
should
don't
keep listening.
lie, so
Blaine, if you
it's
edit this
Blaine.
so that it's not
Yeah.
the same,
Yeah,
we will fight.
you should keep listening because this is Everything Under the Sun.
I haven't decided if I'm using my cheat meal on Wednesday or today.
I still got to give Tyler his $100.
You still haven't done it?
No, because I went and I pulled the cash, put it in my wallet, and now I can't find my wallet.
No.
Blaine.
When did you have it last?
I don't even remember.
Blaine.
Blaine.
Why are you not stressed?
I'd be crying right now. When did you lose
cash
it?
in there? What all was in there?
I mean, cash in my driver's license.
Only your only
Only.
cash in your driver's license.
fine.
When did you lose it?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know that it's even lost. It might just be in my truck. I just need to.
Gosh.
Maybe you
Yeah.
should look for that.
Yeah, if
I couldn't
That
sleep.
might be really
I couldn't
important.
sleep at night knowing that
I legit haven't seen
I
it in
might
like
or
a
might
week.
not know where my
I
wallet
lost my
is.
wallet once and I had a panic attack.
What if someone steals your identity?
For my
Identity
driver's
theft
license?
is not
Yeah,
a
they can do
joke,
that.
Jim.
Nah.
Identity.
When they
I don't know
just-
what you said. I'm
office. It's an office.
Millions
It
of
was the
families
office.
suffer every year.
Thank you, Blaine.
I don't know.
Oh,
never
That's
mind.
real mature. Michael?
That was a good scene.
Oh, that's
Great
mature.
one.
Michael?
Yeah. And then he calculates how much the outfit cost him on his calculator watch.
Yep.
Office.
Somebody put my stuff
It's
in
a great
Jello
show.
again.
Okay. So you're in the middle of the woods.
No. No one
It's-
is around and your phone is dead.
Is it one of those?
Corner of your eye.
You're in the middle of the woods. You can hear, it's dark, it's nighttime.
You can hear it
You can
dark.
hear something.
You can hear Shia LaBeouf.
You can hear something coming at you. From the woods. It's dark. It sounds loud. It's big. What is the one thing that you wish that you had?
A gun.
Why is this a question you ask yourself?
Just a gun?
One of those with like the light on it, though.
Maybe a flashlight. Maybe a flashlight.
Why?
Because
I would
flashlight
wanna
over
see
a gun?
without knowing.
No, well, yeah, the one that's connected to the top of the gun.
Okay. So like a rifle? Like an assault rifle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fully automatic? Or semi-automatic?
You act like I actually know.
Yeah,
that.
you ask us like we know.
I just know big gun go boom.
Big
Are
gun.
you gonna have the wherewithal to be able to shoot a gun correctly?
Probably
before
not.
I've been
this
hunting.
person comes out of the woods and steals it away from you?
I know how
I'll
to shoot a
probably
gun.
just stand there
So it's
with
a
it like
person.
I thought you
on
said it was
something
something
and
big
just
and we
pull the
didn't know what
trigger.
it was.
A
Well,
person
now we
can
know
be
what
big.
it is.
Okay, well, we don't know
that's
it's a
kinda
person. What are you saying, Blaine? Is that a fat joke?
This is a hypothetical serial killer, Mallory. I'm not worried about
Oh, so it's a
offending him.
serial killer. You can't change the story
The
like
more
that,
and more
Blaine.
information we get, the more I feel prepared.
Mallory, you know how to fire a gun?
Yeah, I used to go hunting.
Oh yeah, like with big guns.
I mean, I don't even remember. Oh, I had a 22 rifle. That's the only gun that I've shot. So I've
Okay.
never shot any of the big guns that go boom.
we should use that now.
Any of the big guns that go boom, as opposed to the small guns that go pow.
Yes.
Pew pew.
Allie, have you ever shot a gun
I've shot 2 once.
at the same time?
No.
Oh.
like
That would
wow.
be impressive.
like one bullet
should've
from
said
one
yeah.
and then one bullet from the other.
Where were you shooting at?
A target.
Oh.
What kind of gun?
one of them was like a Civil War reenactment gun.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Yeah, it
Like
was like
a
it was like
ball
an
and-
Wasn't that with your teacher?
Ball and
yeah, it
powder.
was. It was
You
with
shot a
With
gun with your
Mr. Crow or whatever
yeah,
his name
Mr.
is?
Crow. It was with Mr. Crow.
Yeah,
I don't
know
know
Mr.
who
And
that
Crow.
then the other one was like his actual like handgun that he uses.
Wow. Scary.
What kind of class was that?
It was our history reenacting day.
Oh,
Cool.
Yeah.
That's fancy.
fun.
Jaden, have you ever fired a gun?
A Nerf gun.
I fired those
about
Never fired
too.
nothing.
And paintball guns. Those are fun.
Those Nerf guns hurt.
Until you get shot with it.
Those are painful.
Yeah.
Paintball guns hurt.
Nerf guns
Oh.
don't hurt, but those, what were they, like BB guns?
I've been shot with
A
a
BB
BB
gun?
gun
I've never been
before.
shot
That'll
It
break your
hurts
skin.
so
What was it?
bad.
Isn't that what like all the guys used to play? They used to have like a little thing over by
Like
Best Buy.
airsoft?
Airsoft.
Yeah,
Oh,
Airsoft.
I was
that's
about to
not
say
BB.
airsoft.
I'm about to say. That's what I meant to say.
My
Self-defense.
neighbor had a BB gun and he was like mad at
Those
me.
hurt.
And I was riding my bike down the street and he just
No.
and I was just like yeah.
That's
Just
not it.
John Wick out there as like a 6-year-old,
I was like
pedaling as
9.
fast as you can.
She said I was like 9.
He was like 9 too. Yeah. It was
Oh, yikes. That
That's
is
scary.
a 9-year-old probably should not have a weapon unattended.
you know?
Tell that to my cousins.
Yep. It is what it is. We lived in Port Arthur. So
Oh.
Okay.
Have we
I've
started?
never fired a gun. Ever in my whole life.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't fire a gun when you went with Pastor Nathan to make that
No.
video?
he tried to make me.
Oh.
And see, I would have, if he just like was like, here, shoot this gun, I probably would have done it. But it was right whenever we were trying to like get hogs. We were hunting hogs. And
Wow.
I wanted to get footage of hogs for the video that we were shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And so the hogs start coming out. And like in that moment, he's like, here, shoot them. And I was like, I've never fired a gun before. And we need footage of these hogs. I don't want to like let them.
Yeah, and I'm sure that would have probably
Get
been
away.
illegal. Do you have a hunting license?
Is that a thing?
Yeah,
I
that's a
guess?
thing.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
have a hunting and a
License.
fishing license.
Yeah, the fishing
And if
ones
you
are
want to
not
hunt for like different stuff, like
Maybe you
out in
shouldn't have
the
said that.
out in West Texas, people hunt for
I
different
say
stuff.
go
You have to
fishing.
get like a certain license.
Hmm.
You can get those at Academy. Any of the hunting license, fishing license.
What are the qualifications for having a hunting license?
You don't have to have really any qualifications. You
Oh,
just go
that's
and buy
nice.
it.
Then why do you need it?
that's really
Because
nice.
when you shoot stuff and you have to tag it, because the game warden can fine you or arrest you for not having a tag for a buck or a doe, you have to have tags.
How do you know this information?
Because I
Mallory?
used to hunt
Oh,
with my dad.
like
She's also
that
from
frequently?
China.
I'm also
Yeah.
from the country.
Why? Just because she's from China, does that mean that she knows things about?
just, that's
Because
About-
people in China
area.
got guns.
People in China are scary.
Allie would know.
China, Texas.
China and Nome, Texas.
Yeah,
Ay, ay, ay.
you're just gonna carve out a whole population of our local community and be like, "Yep, everyone from there,
Hunts.
they scare me."
Yep.
Especially at night.
Do I scare you?
Especially at night.
Especially at
Don't
night.
the Cribs live in China?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
they do.
They live like 2 minutes away from me.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yep, they do.
Do they scare you?
The
neighborhood does.
Chris lives in China.
Chris. I
Is it
don't.
Chris lives in
Welch?
China.
I have no
No.
idea.
Where does he wants to
He
be on
lives
some
over
firefighting?
by 105.
He wants to be on some firefighting force in some specific town. I thought it was China.
I thought
No.
I thought he was like volunteer
China-
with Double Oaks.
China-
Hmm.
They don't really have like a full out fire department because nothing happens out there. They normally have like a volunteer fire department where people who mostly already have jobs, if there's a fire, then they'll go and they get called out. to-
Regale us, Mallory, with the tales of growing up in the far west. China's west of us?
Far west? No.
China's west.
It's, I don't know.
I'm almost positive it's to the west,
Well, it's on the way to
idea.
Houston.
which is west.
Oh, okay. Then I guess you're
I
right.
don't know direction.
I don't either.
No. You know, we
Tail?
live in East Texas.
Well, I know that much.
Southeast.
So pretty much
Southeast
Texas.
anything,
Southeast Texas.
actually.
anything else that's in Texas is west of us.
Wow.
That makes sense.
You're not
We're almost as east as you can get in Texas,
Mm.
which is why Louisiana is like 45 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's true.
Regale us, Mallory. What's the craziest story you remember from growing up?
Craziest story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
This question is posed to the entire table.
I'm
By the way.
thinking. It
Great.
might take me a minute.
That sounded like you had a story in mind, Jaden.
No, it means I have absolutely nothing in mind.
Oh my gosh,
my
y'all are so
craziest
boring.
story was getting shot with different types of non-lethal guns.
How many
I
times
had
did
a
that
lot of
happen?
guy neighbors.
Okay.
Well, twice.
Uh-huh.
The BB gun.
He actually shot you?
Yeah, he like actually hit
With
me.
a BB gun?
Yeah,
Ow.
like it actually. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
that'll hurt.
painful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that hurts.
And then we were shooting paintball guns, and I was going to look and see where I had hit, and we like everybody was like, "Okay, stop shooting! Like let's go look at the target." And this one kid like wasn't listening, and he shot the paintball gun, and it hit me in the face.
Ouch.
Ow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's painful.
yeah,
Oh.
it like exploded into my eye.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
gosh.
it was. Yeah,
That sounds
Yeah.
horrible. Were you okay?
I think so. I mean, that
You didn't
might
have to
be
go to
the
the
reason
hospital
why
or
I have really
anything.
bad vision.
Why
No, I didn't.
everything,
okay.
whenever you look really far to the left, everything turns pink.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One story I have that I remember, I used to ride horses, and we went riding down my road, me and my dad did. And,
Can you ride horses on the road?
It's China, Blaine.
well, in the
Well, I
country
thought-
you can, yeah.
I thought like riding on like concrete wasn't good
Well,
for their hooves.
Well, you have to be careful because rocks can get stuck in their hooves, but you just have
They
to.
can?
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
you have to
You
be
can
careful.
say hooves.
No, you can't. You sound like you're talking about the people in like Dr. Seuss books, Blues or whatever.
I was gonna say Narnia.
Oh, yeah. That,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we went riding down my road. We weren't like riding on the highway, like we were going down
Yeah.
like a dirt road, so it's
Oh, okay.
okay.
Gotcha.
And we were probably like a mile and a half away from my house. And my horse, he likes to do whatever he wants to do. So my dad was riding in front of me on his horse, and I was riding behind him. And my horse wanted to go faster than his horse and would get really close behind. My dad's horse name is Duke, and so he would get really close behind Duke, and I would have to pull the reins back because that'll either make them stop or slow down. So he'd slow down, and I kept doing that. And then he was really close behind Duke again, and a bunch of birds flew out from a bush in front of my dad's horse, Duke, and it scared him a little bit, but since my horse had no idea what was going on, he heard it but couldn't see anything, and Duke had jumped, and so he flipped out and started bucking, and
Yikes.
I fell off, and I was in 4th grade,
Oh
so
my
of course I'm
gosh.
screaming. I'm screaming, and so it's scaring Thunder even more, which is my horse. He's freaking out even worse, and my foot was caught in the stirrup,
Oh my goodness.
and he started running as I'm screaming, and he's dragging me, trying to get away from
On the
me.
dirt
and
road.
Yes, and he's still running, trying to get away from me, and I'm screaming and like rolling behind him, and he kicked me in the head, on my left side of the head, and I finally twisted far enough where I could get my foot loose, and I'm like laying on the side of the road,
You're
and
dead.
I'm not dead. I'm fine. I'm just crying. I feel like I really think I'm gonna die, but I'm okay. Like nothing was broken, and my dad yelled to get on the side of the road or to get in the ditch, so if my horse came back, he wouldn't run over me because I'm laying in the road, and I just like rolled over. I didn't even sit up. I'm laying on the road, and I just like rolled over into the ditch, and I sat up, and I was like, I'm just like bawling, and he comes back with my horse, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, my mouth is
bleeding from the back of your head.
Well, my head's not bleeding.
Okay.
I have a scar on my elbow. It completely covered my whole elbow. My lip is like the size of a watermelon. It's super swollen, and I had blood on my knees. I just had blood all over my clothes, and I was
gosh.
crying. And my dad was like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, "Can I walk home?" And he said, "No." He said, "You can't walk home," because he didn't want me to be scared
Yeah.
of my horse. So I got back on, and we rode another mile, and then we rode
You know,
back.
just bleeding out.
Yeah, and
dying.
my mom was laying out in the sun and sun tanning, and me and my dad snuck behind her to get into the house and look for the medicine, but we couldn't find it. And he was like, I guess you're going to have to go get Mom.
Because she
And
wasn't going to notice eventually.
She wasn't,
that
yeah.
Your entire elbow had been shaved off.
My dad was trying to keep it from her as long as possible so he didn't get in trouble. And I went and woke Mom up, and she was like, what happened? And she was like,
She was
"Ronnie."
asleep while suntanning?
Yeah.
That is dangerous.
Well, she did have skin cancer on her nose, so
Oh, man.
yeah, she
Yikes.
did. But
See? Like I
so
said, it's dangerous.
I found my mom was freaking out, and she called my sister because they didn't know if I had a concussion or not. But
Yikes.
I was fine. I didn't have to go to the hospital. He apparently didn't kick me that hard because I didn't feel it. I saw him kick me, but I didn't feel it. So, but and my dad saw it too, and he was worried about it. And I had a wedding I had to go to that night, and so I
with half an elbow.
showed up in a dress, and my knees are all scarred up, and my face is all busted, and I have a huge bandage around my elbow, and everybody that I know is there because it was my old pastor's daughter getting married, and so everybody that knew me was there, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what happened? And I'm getting like a bunch of people just asking me all these questions, and I had to repeat the same story over and over and over again, telling them what happened to me.
Goodness.
It wasn't fun, but
That's
yeah,
intense.
it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Never ridden a horse either. Neither have I ever been kicked in the face by a horse. I can only imagine what that feels like. Apparently, it feels like nothing.
Well,
You must have just been like in shock, I guess.
well, I think I was so worried that I was being drugged that I didn't. I don't think like
Yeah.
getting kicked bothered me. I don't know.
Goodness.
I was so young. I don't
That's
know.
intense. Mallory, you're an intern. We have not all the interns, but a lot of the interns on the podcast today. In case you didn't notice, Allie's here, Mallory is here, Jaden is here working on some craft. And
Yeah, craft. That's what it is.
it's like a craft. What are you
No,
doing
it's
there?
not. I'm
buddy?
taping my markers.
It's a thing she
Why
has to do.
so
for
that you
work.
can make like a rainbow easier
What?
A rainbow?
whenever you tape them all together, and then you can
I've
just
never
draw
done that.
a rainbow.
It's two
one
colors.
go.
That's genius.
Oh my gosh. I would never tape them together.
What does
I
a
would just
marker do
hold them
then?
together. A marker is this little plastic thing I have. I wear on my ID. It has an R and an L and then my initials. So when I take x-rays, I put the marker in the field of the light. So on the image, it will say if it's right or left and who took it for legal purposes.
Oh, that
Wow.
makes sense.
Yep.
And
But
it has to stick to your ID.
it has to stick to my ID, but it more so has to be able to stick to the wall bucky or the bucky on the table.
Hmm.
Or
It's
else
like a magnet.
no, they're
Then
not
how does it
magnetic.
stick?
The tape that I'm putting on it, it's double-sided tape.
Well, doesn't the tape just get not sticky?
Yep.
That's why I have
We've
to
been over
redo
this.
it every. Yeah, we just went over this. This is why I have to redo it like once a week or so
Why not just get magnets?
because the wall bucky and the table bucky are not magnetic.
Make them magnetic.
You know how expensive that would be
A
That's-
magnet costs like 4 cents.
to magnetize the buckies.
Just get the
This-
little
I'm
circular
talking about the-
magnets
the
and hot
extra-
glue them onto the thing.
I don't think you can.
Even
do
if
that.
I put a magnet on my marker plane, what
Mm-hmm.
I stick my markers on is not a metal surface. It is
That's
not
why
magnetic.
you get the little circular magnets and you put glue on the back
I don't
and you
think she
stick
can do
it
that.
to
onto the
cir-
wall bucky.
Yeah.
But the problem is every patient's different. So where
Oh.
I stick my marker depends on the patient's body habitus or what the image is of.
This is why.
Surely there's a more efficient system
This
than
is
replacing
why-
the tape on the marker.
Look, this
every
is
week.
what every tech does in
That's
the
ridiculous.
department. So it's part of life.
That's bonkers.
This
It's what
is
every
why-
tech does in general, I think.
This is why
Could
Blaine
you,
doesn't work
like-
at a hospital.
do like what's that called?
Velcro.
Velcro. Could
Yeah.
you?
Some people have Velcro
Oh.
on their ID, but at the same time, the
Bucky doesn't
Bucky
have a
is
Velcro
not
on it.
Velcro.
So you could like take off both sides of the Velcro and put it on the wall and then peel.
Well, then the
But
Velcro
because
would
every
become
patient is
unsticky.
different, the marker has
The
to go in a
Velcro-
different
No, but, like,
spot. every
But she's
time.
saying like have a
Yes.
piece of Velcro that you stick onto the
Stick
wall.
onto
Oh,
the
that's the
wall.
same.
And then,
that's
but
the
that's
same
what I'm
issue.
saying. The Velcro would
And
become
If
most-
unsticky.
anything, that would be worse because the Velcro would rip the other piece of Velcro off. Probably.
And which is why I tape my markers this way. Because before, the first time I taped them, I just did the single piece along the back side of it. Like where you, oh crap. I just dropped it and it stuck to a rag. My bad.
Now you have to redo it again in 4 days instead of
Yeah,
6.
exactly.
Instead of 6 days.
But I just did one on the back, like folded it over. And I didn't realize that when I stuck it onto the bucky, whenever I tried to pull it off, the tape would just stick to the bucky and not my marker. Wasn't very efficient. So that's why I have to wrap the front of them too.
Wow.
This is quite boring information.
Yeah.
I doubt anyone cares about
Yeah.
my markers, but
I don't know, but now the next time they see you, you can be like, "Hey, these are my markers," and they'll know what you're talking about.
next time someone asks me what those are, I'm just gonna be like, go listen to the Everything Under the Sun
Yeah.
podcast
Go
episode,
to
whatever.
0341 of the
Yep.
So, like I said, we have all the interns on today, and I was curious because I feel like maybe we talked about. I don't think I've talked about it with any of y'all on the podcast or even in real life. How did you become an intern at Calvary? Like, one, why did you even want to do that? And then two, how did you do it? How did you go about doing that? Allie, you just walked up to John and were like, "Hey,
Actually,
I need
so
an internship."
they posted in something. I don't remember if it was a Facebook post or if it was an email or something. But John and Steven were looking for an intern because Chris had just left.
Yeah,
Chris
that's
Jack had
right.
just left.
Yeah.
And so they needed somebody to like take up the mantle and figure things out. And at the time, I hadn't started college yet. And so I was like, okay, I want to do music with my life. And my mom was like, well, if you want to do that, you can talk to John and Steven. And I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yeah, they have a like position open. Why don't you like email them and text them and then schedule a meeting or whatever? So I did that, and then after like 2 weeks, they hired me, and
Wow.
then they started showing me all of the ways, and now it's
So, what do you do exactly?
So it's kind of a complicated answer because
Okay.
it's a lot of techie terms, but
Mm-hmm.
I make all of the resources for Sunday mornings. So, except for the front screens, I don't make those. Rhonda makes those.
Oh, like the words that we sing along to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I don't make the words that you see up at the front, but we have a set of, I'm telling all of our secrets. Shh. We have,
Don't worry, no one will ever hear this.
so that we don't have music stands on the stage, we have a big screen in the back of
oh,
the
yeah,
main
the back
worship center.
screen.
Mhm, the back screen. And so on that.
Pretty sure
wall-
anybody who's ever
Yeah, but like.
turned
I-
around looking for a friend
My parents had
has
no
noticed
idea.
the,
My parents did
that
not
the
pay
back screen
attention.
exists.
Yeah, they didn't.
It's like
pay
bigger than the
attention
front
to
screens.
It is. It's massive. But my parents like didn't pay attention to that because they never looked in that direction.
Okay.
And so unless you like turn around and you look up,
Yeah, I guess that's true.
you never really notice it.
It was always much more apparent in V2 whenever we were doing V2.
Yeah,
Because it was like right there on the wall.
it was. It's
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I make all the like songs so the band can play along.
Mhm.
And then we use an in-ear system in both main and V2 so that the musicians can hear the band, the other singers, and a click track to keep them on tempo. And essentially a click track is like a metronome that announces where you are.
Chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I make all of those things and I'll like put everything together. And so there'll be like tracks playing behind the band that you can hear. Don't listen for them because you might not be able to hear
Yeah,
them.
like if you
They're
go back
supposed to.
on Easter on our live stream, you can hear strings. There's like a whole violin
Oh
track.
yeah, I forgot about the orchestra.
I can't remember what song that's in. But
I think it was in the first medley.
I think so.
But
There's-
all of
There's a lot of strings, and we don't have any.
Yeah,
we don't
we
have any
don't
strings
have-
on stage.
and like there's a lot of like extra percussion stuff,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Whooshing
and-
wind sounds.
Yeah, and like
yeah.
piano synths that we could make those and we could use them, but that would be another person up there having to be tied to a piano the whole time.
Right.
So we just use those.
And 2 is enough.
Yes. This is true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
I make
so
all of that stuff.
if you were not here, then tomorrow we'd have a real problem. Pretty much
Yeah,
all the behind the scenes stuff
John and Steven could
for
do
worship
it,
stuff.
but not as efficiently because
Yeah.
I've like figured out all the different things. I've
Mhm.
actually started teaching them things, which is weird
Wow.
because they're like my mentors, and then I'm like, here you go, I learned this new thing. But yeah, I also like help them find music for Sundays.
Oh, very cool.
yeah.
Like you're part of like picking what songs we use.
Sometimes I do those, and then I'll like go into John's office and be like, hey, I heard this new song.
Very
I
cool.
actually did that today
Wow.
with a Phil Wickham song,
What song?
House of the Lord. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. I've listened to it like 6 times today. It's really good.
We'll put a link in the description.
Are you actually going to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I always do that, Allie.
Do you really?
Yes. You don't go down to the description
No.
and look. Oh my gosh.
Never.
Then what am I doing it for?
The only time I did that was for the Tyler
Yourself.
Diet thing.
Oh
That was
yeah.
the
And
only
that was
time
in the
I ever
description.
did that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I went back to that video several times.
Yeah, me too.
Me either.
Yeah. Mallory, you interned for the children's ministry.
Yes.
That sounds horrible.
It's not. It's both children and preteens, but
Oh wow.
I like it.
2 whole dang ministries.
Yeah, but she's kind of put me more in the children's than in the preteens because there's
Miss
there's
Debbie.
enough there's enough volunteers for preteens and we need more volunteers for children.
So if you happen to be out there and you're interested in teaching kids, you should contact Mallory.
Yes.
Yeah, just message us and we'll get you in touch with. Probably Mallory would be the
Yeah.
person you talk to.
Yes.
So you do like a lot of administrative stuff, or like you actually like teach kids and stuff?
Sometimes I do teach kids each classes if they need teachers. I'm more kind of like a general officer. They put me where they need me because we're always having teachers who are sick or who are just not able to make it, or they have kids who are sick. So they always need somebody to help in a classroom or to teach a class. So I pretty much am wherever they need me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How did you start? How did you find out that position was available?
Well, I had asked Kevin if anybody was hiring interns, and he had mentioned that there was an opening with Miss Debbie in the children's department. And at first I thought, that's probably not for me. And then I kept thinking about it, and I thought, well, I'll just apply and see what happens, because I felt like I was being called to do that. So I applied, and I thought, there's no way that I'm going to even get a call back. And she called me back, and she set up an interview with me, and I went to the interview, and I think a couple of weeks later she called me back and said, if you're still interested, we would love to have you. And I was shocked.
Wow.
I was like, really? Yeah.
Why were you interested in an internship in the first place?
I don't know. I felt a huge tug to work with either the youth or kids, just to work, just to work in a church, because especially I'm seeing it now, it's very rewarding because it's all for a good cause, and it's just a good feeling to me that I'm doing something and building the kingdom of God. It's very rewarding.
I've always felt like that. I've always said that whenever you kind of just go to a church, whenever you're just going to a church, but the best way to become a part of your local Christian community, to really be a part of your church, is to serve.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other way that has made me feel more a part of Calvary.
Aren't we called to serve?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody.
But I would say, it's a pretty small portion of our church congregation that serves on a regular basis.
Yeah. That's true.
And I mean, like I said, I honestly think until you are serving in some area, I don't see how you can. I mean, technically, yeah, sure, you're a church member. I'm not going to say that you're not a church member if you're not serving. But certainly you're not a participating church member. You're not a part of Calvary if you're not actively giving back what you get from the community. So, and that's any community. I mean, you can't say that you're a part of, like, if you're a huge, we talked about like AJR the last time you were on the podcast, Allie.
How do you remember that?
Because you made me watch some AJR YouTube video, and now I get them in my recommended.
They just released a new
constantly.
album.
And
It's really
I
good.
don't really care that they used Wii Tennis sound effects in one of their songs.
I find it really cool, but
that's one of the videos they're always trying to get me to watch.
That's the difference between us.
Yeah, I'm not a big music person for
I'm a
whatever reason.
huge music person.
We
Really?
can tell.
Like,
My point is, if you were like a huge AJR fan, but you never like interacted with the community that like likes their music or listens to other music, like, you know, what they're inspired by, or if you never had a conversation with anybody else who was interested in AJR, never did your research to figure out, you know, what was the thought process behind their song. Like, you couldn't really say, like, you were just a casual, oh yeah, I listened to them, instead of like being an active part of that community of music. Whereas like here at church, like, you just can't say that you're part of the community without actively serving, in my opinion. So if you haven't found a place to get involved and to be serving, there's tons. I know I really enjoyed, I started with the students, started teaching up there, and I did a whole thing where I felt like for a long time, like 4 months, Kevin kept on coming to renewal. I think it was the second time he came to renewal and was like a guest speaker. And after that second time, I was like, I should probably serve in the students. I kept on feeling that. And so as I was praying about it, I was getting more and more confirmation. And so I took like 3 months to like research Bible stuff, like be on the know, so that whenever I got into the ministry, I wasn't like the guy who like was having to play catch up, that like didn't know as much as everybody else. And then I got there. And
That's where I first met you.
I didn't have to. Was it really?
Yeah.
While you were in the students? That's right.
Yes, because I
Qualification.
didn't start coming till 2 or 3 years ago, and my first time I met you and Isaac, the old youth intern.
Valerio.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Isaac in a long time.
I've never
I haven't
met
either.
Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac was a great guy. He's a youth leader now at
I don't remember.
somewhere. Tyler,
Texas.
something.
Yeah.
I know their Wednesdays like Radiate, but I don't know what the church is.
Yeah, we follow their social media stuff. But yeah, getting involved anywhere, you don't have to. Like I said, I did all that preparation and then got there and like didn't need any of it. I very much was fueled by the Holy Spirit and had a huge community that was there to help and support me. So anyway that you get involved, you don't need to do any preparation or.
Other than pray.
I mean, sure, like spiritually prepare yourself, like
Yeah.
be in a place where you're actively investing in your relationship with God. You have to do that before you can be investing in your relationship with other people. But other than, you know, investing in your relationship with God, I don't. There's not like a whole lot of other skills that you're going to need. You can learn most of that stuff while you start serving. So you should serve if you don't serve. Jaden, you're an intern for the student ministry.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's your story, man?
No.
Yeah. How did you become an intern? Well, why did you want to become an intern? I feel like you were an intern first out of the people at the table.
She was.
Yeah.
I was?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, when did you start?
This past summer.
I started this past summer too.
I started in December.
Wow.
Seniority.
Yeah.
Basically, like, I really, really felt called to serve in the church, and there was just a lot of things that were, like, more than coincidence, I think. And, like, I can't even remember half of it. I had, like, this journal full of, like, 10 points of why I knew I wanted to do some sort of ministry at some point of my life, and I knew that that's what God was calling me to do. And basically, I had this opportunity to go and serve at a church and work at a church in Malaysia. and
Malaysia?
in Malaysia.
Wow.
Yeah, most people already know this. So basically, like, I had the dream schedule.
How was Malaysia? Was it cool?
Hang on.
Yep, definitely.
Just wait.
Spoiler
But
alert.
I had like the dream schedule at Lamar. Like I didn't have class on Friday. I had all the best professors. I was so like I worked so hard to make that schedule. And then as soon as this opportunity fell in my lap, I was like, "Oh, dear advisor, I am not coming to school this semester." And I was going to go to Malaysia for like 3 months or so, and then COVID happened. So, yay.
Wow.
Yep. So I didn't get to go, and like I was really upset about it, but I knew that there had to be a reason why that didn't work out. I knew that God was still working in my life. And then Kevin talked to me about becoming a intern for the youth. And I honestly I really loved working in youth ministry. Like I love teaching just because they're like older and they're able to have more like in-depth
Yeah.
spiritual conversations and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like I worked at Awanas before and I love the kids, but like
yeah. It's just a
memory
different
verse.
level.
it's a different level for
Yeah.
sure. And so, and I felt like knowing what God did in my life throughout high school and throughout the youth age, I was able to connect with a lot of the kids in a different way. And so I knew that was definitely what I wanted to do. So I applied and I got the internship. And that's the T. That's what happened.
How did you know that we needed interns?
Kevin said, "Hey,
Oh, so you were like serving in the students before you started your internship?
I honestly can't remember, and I don't really think so. Maybe a little bit, but not much. But Kevin talked to me about it, and I was like, yeah. And I applied, and so during the summer, I worked at a law firm and at Calvary at the same time.
Wow.
And then I started school, and now I do school and intern.
Very cool.
Yep.
So I struggle with a thing whenever I'm serving or teaching, or like I have we do huddles with several people, and we have small groups at renewal and stuff like that. And I run into this problem where if I don't feel super, we were talking about earlier, like investing in your relationship with God before you can invest in other people. I'll go through times where like I don't feel like I'm the closest to God that I could be. Like I've got this thing where I'm like focusing on work, and I just go home and I watch a movie and go to bed instead of like and like stay up too late, and then I oversleep the next morning, and so I don't have quiet time, and I get into that like routine of like just not making time to actively like have time with God. And whenever I do that, I feel really weird about standing up in front of like students and being
Yeah,
like,
I feel like a hypocrite.
yeah, being like, oh, this is what the Bible says and this is why it's important.
Yeah.
When you're working in like leadership positions like that, when you probably don't feel at your spiritual highest, how do you deal with that? What do? You just get over it? You just psych yourself out? You're like, it doesn't matter. I got to teach these kids.
I feel like I struggled with that for a long time because whenever I wasn't going to Lamar, I had like hours upon hours a day to just spend in the Word. And like I would literally spend all day like reading the Bible, watching sermons, taking notes, and I felt really close to God. And so as soon as life got really busy with school and internship and church and clinicals and everything else, I realized I couldn't just spend 3 hours a day in the Bible like I wanted to, which was really tough. And so I didn't feel as close to God, but I think I had to remind myself that God was still working, and I had to learn that at the end of the day, like, you can say there's not enough time in the day to do a quiet time, but there always is. Like, even if it's 30 minutes, like, we use 30 minutes doing random stuff anyway every day. And so I've just had to learn to, maybe I can't sit down and take notes and really dive into it as much as I want to, but something's better than nothing. And I think even on those days when I don't feel as close to God as I do on other days, I know that He can still use me during that time, and He can still speak through me to other people during that time, because, I mean, through every season He's working, and so everybody's story is different. So I feel like no matter what, you can speak into someone else's life.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the biggest thing is I've witnessed, those times where I'm at like really spiritually low places and watched God like speak through me to somebody else and knowing like I didn't have anything to do with that
Yeah.
like just now. That's a weird thing to watch God work through you, even though like I haven't made the investment that I should, in my relationship with him.
Yeah, I could totally relate to Jaden because especially these past few months when it was just me in the children's department, I was completely exhausted. I had like my schedule was crazy. It was literally work, school, and then sleep. And then over and over and over every day, and I was just exhausted and mentally and physically exhausted. I didn't have any time to dive into God's Word and have quiet time to build my relationship with God. And I was investing in relationships with other people and with the kids, and I wasn't allowing time for God to invest in me and for Him to open my heart, for Him to work in me like I did in the beginning when I did have time. And I prayed in the beginning to please speak through me to these kids. And then when life got busy, I was totally, and I isolated myself from other people just because I had so much stuff to do. I felt like, I don't have time to go hang out with friends. I don't have time to surround myself with other believers.
Can't relate.
Or go to renewal because I was just so busy. And then, especially with 16 hours of college credit hours and then work and whenever
You're stressing me out just talking about it.
it was
Mallory.
it was a very hard time. And Nathan told me because I hadn't been to renewal or been around anybody in a long time, and he reminded me. He said, I know that you're trying to keep it together, but just don't forget that God is with you and that you're not alone. Don't invest everything in you in these kids without investing time in God and in His Word to allow Him to give you hope and to invest in you. And it was a good reminder of that because I felt like I was alone because I had isolated myself and where I wasn't encouraged and I didn't allow other people or God to encourage me. And so I was reminded that you can invest some time, and it doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes or an hour. It doesn't have to be 3 hours. As long as it's a little bit of time and you invest all of yourself into your quiet time with Him, He can do anything within that short amount of time. Just to
Yeah, I've been really
you.
struck too, like taking those really quick, quiet times.
Yeah.
How much of that comes back later, like throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. Like you miss out on a lot, even whatever you do, just a little. Allie, Mallory and Jaden are kind of like in like teaching positions with their internships. Yours is a lot more technical. How do you feel like God works through that without like directly having conversations with people as in like a positional leadership?
Yeah. I feel like music is a big thing. Like, even if you don't like it, even if you're like, oh, whatever, I don't really care, they're just singing up there, like, the words that are said and, like, the melodies that are played still have a major impact in you. And so, like, it's a huge thing that we're doing. It's really important that we aren't picking stuff just because we want to do it kind of thing. Like, a lot of prayer and a lot of time and thought and meditation go into the stuff that we choose and into the songs that we pick and the artists that we play and stuff like that. So I feel like if I'm not in the Word and I'm not dedicating myself to my relationship with Christ, the picking of the music and my thought process of making the stuff that we use is very selfish. And it's like, oh, I like how this sounds, so I'm playing it because I think it's great. Rather than, I think God is calling us to do this song because I feel like He's going to work through it. And I feel like people are going to be touched by it.
That's weird. You almost have, I didn't think about it that way, but you almost have like more of a leadership position. How many times has Kevin consulted you in writing his sermon? Or how many times has Debbie consulted you in making her lesson plans? Like that's an interesting thing that you have a lot of like collaborative say in literally the leadership of our congregation and worship. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that way.
And a lot of times I'm on stage. Like, I'm
Yeah.
out in front of people.
Yeah.
And I feel like such a hypocrite
Yeah.
when I'm up there, like, worshiping in front of all these people. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually not doing this for God. I'm doing this because, like, there's a crowd of people and I just want to be in front of them. Like, I've caught myself, especially recently, I've caught myself so many times just like, oh, look at all these people looking at me. Like, oh, they're having such a good time. And it's just because we're up here and that's not it. Like, they're not paying attention to you. And something hit me really hard a couple weeks ago. Pastor was talking about the music, and he said that whenever he worships, he looks up at the cross. He doesn't look at the band. He doesn't look at the singers. He looks at the cross. And I was like, dang. Like,
But
what
I'm
are you
up here,
doing?
Pastor? Come on.
That was my first thought, was like, but we're up here doing all this stuff. And then I was like, whoa.
Oh, man. Ouch. That's
What
kind of
am I-
justified, though. You kind of
I
justified
mean-
to think that.
But
a lot
also,
of work that
that's
you're putting in
such
there.
a selfish thought process, though. Of like, I'm up here. Why aren't you looking at me? Like, that's not the purpose. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for Christ.
Yeah.
And it really like slaps me in the face when I like think those thoughts, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, what
Yeah.
are you doing?
I hate that. Those things. It's interesting. I wish I knew the philosopher who said it, but somebody described sin as a kind of insanity because you always approach it that way. Of like, you think about like the last time you sinned and you're like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
I didn't even want to do that. Why? What a weird thing. And so sin is like something that's not us. It's like we do it and we like want to in the moment, but then we look back on it. We're like, why would I ever have made the decision to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
And so it is always a little scary to like get those impulses and be like, okay, well,
Yeah. I've had people have come up to me and my parents, and they're like, I've heard so much about your daughter and what she's done with the children, with Miss Debbie out with COVID, and with some people, or with her assistant leaving, and I was the only one left, and I had just started, and so I had no idea what I was doing, and I felt like I was all by myself, but I had a lot of help. And people will come up to me and say, well, we've heard what you've done, and you've done a great job. And it's so easy to just say, thank you. Yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did this all by myself. It's so easy to do that. And I caught myself thinking that a couple of times, like, oh, thank you. Like I'm all that in a bag of chips. But it's really not, because without God, I wouldn't have been there in the first place.
Definitely.
Without God, I wouldn't have felt that tugging and that call for that internship, and I would not be here. I wouldn't be doing this internship. I wouldn't have been able to do any of the things that I've done, and I haven't regretted it. Even though there were times when I felt overwhelmed, I wouldn't have regretted. I wouldn't have taken that back ever. I wouldn't have never switched it out with anything in the world.
I think that's my
Definitely.
biggest struggle, though, is like when people, because honestly, there's a lot of people who come up and they're like, oh, the music was so great.
yeah.
or,
Well, especially your area of ministry
Yeah.
is very
it's
centralized.
It's so like everybody like sees us.
Yeah.
And so everybody will come up and they're like, oh, it's so great. You guys did so amazing. The thing sounded so good. And I'll like catch myself like, oh, yeah, I did that. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
was so great. Like I was up there and I did these things. And that's like the biggest thing I struggle with, is keeping myself grounded and knowing that it's not me. I'm not the reason this is happening. I'm not the reason that this is moving. It's God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a weird thing. You can kind of get, this is a weird idea, but you can kind of get in this weird brain space where I can look up on the stage and like see Allie up there and think in my brain, she doesn't deserve to be up there. You know what I mean? Like, and that sounds judgmental. Like that sounds judgy. Like, that person doesn't deserve to be up there. But in reality, it kind of puts you back in that check. You think about like feeling like a hypocrite on stage. And I do that as like a leader all the time. I'm supposed to be like in a position of leadership with people. I don't even have half of my own stuff together, much less like I'm supposed to tell these people how to do their stuff. And so you feel really hypocritical like that. But I think maintaining that thought process of like none of us deserve to be in the position that we're in at all. We're all hypocrites in a way.
Definitely.
Puts you in a place of like starting to do church the way that church was meant to be done.
Yeah.
I think people kind of, once they see that, they're like, oh, well, that person's a hypocrite. I didn't realize that. That's a flaw in the church. Like that's a bad thing. And if I see too much of that happening, maybe I should think about going to a different church because there's flawed people in this church. And I think the whole point of church is doing life together despite our complete inadequacy to do life correctly.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a weird thing that we come together and do twice a week on Sundays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That got deep.
Real deep.
So, last question. We probably should wrap up. It's been a while.
It has been
it
a while.
already has?
How long has it
It's
been?
It's been like an hour.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm shook.
You're on a desert island.
Oh gosh.
Oh, another one.
What a boring question.
You're on a desert island. What are the 3 movies you bring with you?
Movies?
Movies?
Oh,
Oh
no.
gosh.
The 3 movies you're going to watch for the rest of your life.
I can't.
Only 3?
I don't like this question.
I don't
Blaine.
either.
Blaine, why'd you pick this question?
Because it's
This is a
hard.
terrible question. Terrible question.
I'm
I
gonna
literally
say
have no idea.
The Shining.
No.
The Shining. A New Hope.
Oh.
And La La Land.
Those
I knew
answers
that one.
disappoint me.
Okay, you know what?
I knew he was
Why
going to
don't
say
you come
La
up
La
with some
Land.
better ones? I'm waiting.
I have a better one. I think I have a better one.
know.
I have absolutely no
Wouldn't
idea.
a movie get annoying after so many times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, La La
Like
Land.
all of my favorite movies, I've gotten like
I would be
bored of
cracking
now.
coconuts.
I don't even have
Belting.
one favorite movie.
Someone in the crowd.
I don't even have one favorite movie. I don't think I do.
I'm not saying this
I
is
love
my
all
favorite
of 'em.
movies. I'm saying those are the 3 movies that I could watch over and over and over again
Oh.
until
That's the
I
thing.
died.
I don't know what movie I can watch over and over.
the
and
only
over
movies
again.
I can watch over and over again are like movies with a bunch of sequels.
Yeah.
And so like if I watch one
Yeah.
of them, I have to watch the next one, and then I have to watch the next one.
All right,
So-
I'll count a whole series as one movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then
Okay.
pick the longest series, so then you have a lot to choose from on a
Well,
daily
I was gonna
basis.
say Narnia.
Me too. I was
The
thinking
Narnia
Narnia.
movies?
Yes.
I love Narnia.
Those are like my all time. Like if somebody says, "Hey, you want to watch Narnia?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, let's go."
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I was
even like
thinking
have the
that.
soundtrack memorized.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first one was pretty decent.
The
I
first
did
one
enjoy
was
the first
really
one.
good.
Yeah.
The second one was like not quite.
Which
as
one
good,
even is the
but
second one?
Prince Caspian.
That's the second
Yes,
one? Okay.
that's when they're trying to kill his stepdad or something, or they're trying to get him out of the throne
Yeah.
because he's corrupt.
Yeah, they have like a big war. A bunch of characters die. I cry every time.
The third
Wow.
one's a little creepier because
The
it has
third
that like
one's
just-
evil spirit, and
it's
that
more
kind of scares
cringy.
Dawn
me.
Treader.
That
Yeah.
does kind of scare me
Dawn
a little
Treader's
bit
a little
more.
more cringy, honestly,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
nothing
they try
like,
too hard, and that's like the best Narnia book.
and it's not
Yeah.
even like all the characters.
Yeah.
No.
They
So,
cut a lot out of that.
Honestly, I would just take the first two.
Really.
The first one was
I can
decent.
see
Because
On
the
a
third
desert
one-
island where you can only watch so much, you wouldn't even go ahead and take that
No.
third one with you?
The third one is not good. The only thing I liked about the third
and you get
one
that
was
stupid
Eustace.
whiny, like,
I
annoying
just
He's the
kid.
only one I
him.
like because he's Will
No.
Poulter.
He's
That
so
kid was
annoying. He makes me mad.
Yeah. He was bad in the book. He was
Like, just
worse
get
in the
rid of
movie.
him.
Yeah.
You don't need him.
I think the second one would be, and I'm gonna get hate for this. Okay, I'm gonna get so much hate for this. The Maze Runner.
Okay,
Oh,
Loki.
man.
Oh, okay.
Heike.
Not even Hunger
I
Games?
can dig
Heike.
that.
No, I hated the Hunger
For some
Games.
reason, I really, really like The Hunger Games. Not The Hunger Games, The Maze Runner, the first movie.
I love the first one so
Okay.
much.
I watched the first one and I really, really liked it. And
Yes.
it made me read the whole series after that.
This
I
is the
read part of the
movie
series.
where the entire cast is attractive boys.
They're not that attractive, if we're being
No.
honest.
They're really
Most
not.
of
But
them
there's
are.
not one female in the whole cast.
Yeah,
Yes, there is.
is.
There is one.
There's one female.
That's
in
the whole point of
entire
the book.
cast.
And the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Actually,
that
no.
is right.
There's more females because like the
Well, yeah, in the later
runners of the
movies.
like the
But not gonna
maze
lie, the first
people.
one was really good. I bought the DVD. I read the whole series, and then the Scorch Trials movie came out, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my gosh, the book is so good! I'm so excited." No, trash. Compared to the
But
book,
what made
trash.
me sad was reading the book after watching the movie, and I was like, these are completely separate narratives.
Yeah,
These are not the same thing at all.
the first one's kind of similar.
No, it's really not though, because like the journey to get to the maze
Oh
is so
yeah, that's different.
And I would love to see that in a movie.
Yeah, the books were
Like
really
that would have
good.
been so good.
And then Death Cure, I didn't watch until like a
Death
whole
Cure disappointed
2
me so
years or a
much.
year after it came out.
it was
the
so
movie,
disappointing.
and then I watched
Did
it.
they
and I
even
was
make
like,
a third
this is
one?
trash.
Yeah,
they made a third movie, but I
Oh.
didn't
It
watch
was
it until
not
years
good.
later.
I didn't remember
It
that.
was really not good.
I remember they made that awful looking second one, and then I didn't see anything after
No, the
that.
second one wasn't great. First one was decent.
Yeah.
I think I watched the first one.
It's good.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't judge you, Ellie.
So Maze Runner is one. That's one of yours.
Narnia is the other one.
Okay.
See, the third one is hard
Okay.
because I'm dancing between three.
3.
Okay.
I'm
Whoa.
dancing between three.
What are the 3 you're dancing?
Harry Potter,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Singing in the Rain,
Singing in
Okay.
the Rain. Fascinating.
and Newsies.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
That one would be catchy though if you're on a desert island.
That's true. Like Singing in the Rain and Newsies, like
Yeah.
those songs would be stuck in your head the whole
Yeah.
time you're there.
That is
Like
true.
you would be like dying singing those songs. There, yeah. I can't decide.
You would be dying because you'd be stuck on a desert island.
That's true.
yeah.
Not.
Why do they call it a desert island?
Because
It's not a desert. There's palm.
I thought
But
it
it's
was deserted
deserted.
island.
Yeah, it's isolated.
It's an isolated area.
Is it
Desert.
deserted island?
No, it's a desert island, but it's a
Yeah.
deserted place.
Yeah.
That's not what desert means. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google something later.
Okay.
Mallory, what are your movies?
Well, there's only one that I can think of, and that's I think Mamma Mia.
That was good.
Oh,
The
that
series?
is fun.
Yeah.
That's weird
Isn't
that
there
we're
only
all
two?
picking musicals.
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
I love that one. Maybe
That's such a good song.
You
the
know-
Hunger Games.
You
I
know
like
what was
The Hunger
another like in the vein of Mamma Mia that was really good? Is A Knight's Tale. Did you ever see A Knight's Tale?
No.
Never saw it.
We have that on DVD. Isn't
was
that with
good.
Heath Ledger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like all like it's like Queen songs instead of ABBA songs.
Oh,
It's good.
that sounds really good.
It is. It's like it's a armor bearer for a knight who jousts. The knight dies in like a jousting match, and so the armor bearers there's like 4 of them, and because the knight is dead, they can't eat food anymore if the knight's not competing. So one of the armor bearers pretends to be the knight, so that they can still get food, and he's like really good at it. It's Heath Ledger, and
You
it's
know what
great.
I
It's a really fun movie.
Just realized. I hate when people tell me the plot of movies.
Oh, whoops.
And you just told me the entire plot of that movie.
So sorry. That, I didn't.
Way to
There's-
go.
And I didn't even realize you're doing it until halfway through, and I was like, oh.
It's just the most basic synopsis. There's a lot more to that movie.
But I did, okay.
we did that.
But now I know what happens.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
You know what happens in like the first 3 scenes?
You've spoiled so many things, but
Oh yeah, you spoiled the girls' ministry movie. Way
you
to
spoiled the
go.
entire
my
thing.
gosh.
Did we still bawl
We
our eyes
had
out?
Yeah,
to
we still
look it
cried.
up for safety purposes.
But you didn't have
But you
to
didn't have to tell me the
her.
ending.
Oh, I had already
Okay.
seen it.
Well, good for you, Mallory. We
didn't.
I'm sorry.
No, but
to
we
be
did
fair,
that.
I told Jaden. I didn't tell Alan.
Allie told me, you told her. Because I didn't
I
tell
told
Allie.
you.
the
I've heard
ending.
you talk about that one before, I thought.
Oh.
No, me and Jaden, like I hadn't even heard of it before Jaden told me about it. And so we looked up the parents' guide. So we knew like if it was going to be a good movie to watch with students. And it was fine.
Interesting.
But I had
It's
to.
a Jeremy
No, you didn't
Camp.
have
All you
to
had
tell
to
me
do
anything.
was-
All you
all
had to
you
do
had
was
to
look
do
at your
was
little
ask
computer
me.
and go, oh, yeah, no, that should be good for the students. And I would have been like, okay. You didn't have to go,
I-
oh, yeah, look, it says here's the plot.
You should have
reads
asked
the
me
whole
the
summary
entire thing.
with
Oh my
the ending
gosh.
and goes, yeah, it sounds like a
Blaine,
good
next
movie.
time just ask
Whoops.
me,
Yeah,
I might have
guess
seen
not, right?
it.
That's what I'll
and
have
I
to do.
go,
won't.
Blaine.
And I won't spoil it.
So the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
She didn't say
She
the
didn't
Hunger
say
Games.
that.
Yeah, I did. I said the Hunger Games.
Oh, never
you
mind.
did?
And the Hunger
Wow.
Games. You
Fake
said Mamma
friends.
Mia, the Hunger
Hunger
Games,
Games.
and
I
what
can't.
else?
I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like I need to go back and revise my options.
Why?
I'm just gonna say all of Star Wars.
Okay.
Okay.
Nah,
Um.
I could leave all the prequels. But anyways, Jaden.
I honestly have no idea. I know I would
Legally
want
Blonde.
to bring Selena.
I've never seen
Selena.
I love
Waiting
that.
for Selena.
That movie's so good because
I
I'll
love
have
that
movie. That is a really
music,
good movie.
I'll cry, I'll be happy. I'll just it gives me everything.
Did you watch the new one?
The series
Uh-huh.
on Netflix, yeah,
Was it good?
it was pretty good.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
As good as the original?
No,
I mean, you can't beat Jennifer Lopez.
exactly. It's not J-Lo, so but it was pretty good. But I would bring that movie for sure because I've seen that a ton and it never gets old.
Yeah,
It's always just as good as the first time.
that is a fun one.
Other than that, I really don't know.
Oh, I just thought of my third one. It's It's kind of an old movie. It's the Wedding Planner. Have you seen
With
that?
J-Lo and what's his face? Oh,
Matthew McConaughey. I love that
such a
movie.
good movie.
Oh my gosh.
I watched that on Netflix like a few months ago.
It's on Hulu too, I think.
such
It's
a
so
good movie. Have you seen it, Allie?
it. Yeah. My mom made me.
Then
watch
why
it.
are you not screaming? Did you not enjoy it?
I liked the proposal better.
The Proposal's good too.
Yeah.
Isn't that with Sandra Bullock,
Bullock.
and Ryan Reynolds?
Yep.
That's a good
Ryan
movie.
Reynolds.
Oh, there's a good movie called.
What's that?
What's your
Whoa!
problem with Ryan?
Whoa!
Ryan Reynolds.
whoa,
Ryan
whoa.
Reynolds tries way too hard to be
No,
charming.
just stop.
He
Just
is-
no.
He is not funny.
You know what this sounds like? Jealousy. Ryan Reynolds is
Ryan
amazing.
Reynolds wishes. Okay. What's your third one?
Anyways,
no one agreed.
Yeah.
Moving
What's your
on.
third one?
Me?
Oh,
I didn't
well,
even
you
say
only said-
two. I only
Yeah, you
said
said
one. I
one.
said Selena, and I don't know what else.
Yeah.
I legit cannot tell you. There's so many movies.
Yeah.
Without, I really don't know. Maybe the High School Musical series.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe.
that'd be a good one.
You had to complete the musical motif.
Oh, so the third one has to be a musical.
No, you just said.
No,
High
you
School
got a
Musical.
music. Everybody has
You have
listed
a
musical.
A week
Oh.
away.
I was
That
just about
was
to
trash.
say not
What's
a week away.
It's
No
a
one watched.
new-
That's the movie we
It
were
was
watching when you
actually-
came home,
okay.
and you were like, "What is this?
What
Is this a
was
Christian
that?
It
movie?"
was
What
okay.
It's like a Christian musical.
So Netflix decided to make a Christian musical. They partnered with Amy Grant and Stephen Curtis Chapman,
Because
and they wrote
it was
an
kind
entire.
It was trash.
It was kind of highly produced. Like,
it was. It
Like
looked
it,
like
like
Disney
had a
made
lot
it.
of it had like a lot
I
of
was
money
about
behind
to watch
Yeah,
it, and
but
then
it
I
was
came here,
trash.
and they said, "No, do not watch
I
it.
mean,
It's not good."
I would say watch
was
it so
bad.
that you can have seen what they did, but
It was
it's not
trash.
great.
The
It's
songs
super
did not
cheesy.
line up with the plot really well at all. The acting wasn't good. It just
I
it
will
wasn't
say
good.
there was
it
a
looked dumb.
campfire scene where they sang.
That was
God
kinda
only
good.
knows, and then Our God is an Awesome God, and they like did a mashup melody thingy.
That
And
was
it
pretty
was
cool.
it chills.
It was good.
It was so good.
But,
But
you
overall,
missed.
it was really cheesy.
Why was
It
But
was
it's
cheesy.
not
No,
more
I'm telling you,
cheesy.
Blaine. As soon as you went upstairs, they started singing "Big Big House."
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
you missed out.
Yeah,
Oh
they sang
my
that like
gosh.
7 times.
It was the ending credits song as well.
Yeah, it was.
And I was just sitting there like,
And you know they had to sing that 8,000 times.
literally.
You know they had to.
It was never ending. never ending.
It's not more cringy than like Teen Beach Movie.
Well, see,
I've
and
never
that's what was
seen Teen
confusing
Beach
to me.
Movie.
It was so like this is gonna sound weird. It was so like sexy. Does that make sense? It's like everybody in the movie was like
Yeah.
meant to be like so attractive, and they're like romance, and they're like
Right, it was like
it was like a High School Musical movie.
it was.
Well,
it's the
yeah.
High
It's
School
supposed to be
Musical
like that.
characters.
It's supposed to be like a
100%.
Christian high
but this
school
weird
musical
like Christian
thing.
movie that's like all about oh, get the guy and get the girl, and oh, I'm so
Yeah.
cool and charming and attractive, and
Like I said,
was
it didn't make
weird.
sense.
It's the same kind of stock characters that High School Musical, Teen Beach Movie, Camp Rock, all of them have the
Yes.
same.
It reminded me very much of like Cameron.
They all have
Yeah,
the same
Camp
plot
Rock.
lines.
Yeah,
It was trying to be that,
weird.
but with Christian music instead.
Yeah.
Dumb.
I don't know if I want to watch it.
I mean, you should watch it. I would watch it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just watch it just to watch it, but
I was
it's
impressed by
trash.
like the level of production quality. That's why I was like, "What Christian movie is this? That's like
It was
only
Netflix.
vaguely Christian that has this level of production quality."
You literally
Yeah.
asked that like 3 times. You're like, "Is
I was
this a
so
Christian
confused.
movie?" And everyone just ignored.
I was so confused.
That's funny.
Yeah, it feels great
I
to
didn't know
ask
the
a question
answer.
and have the entire room.
Well, see,
just
here's
never
the
answer it.
understand.
we didn't know if
Understand
it
the
was or
feeling.
not. At least I didn't know the answer, and so I just didn't respond.
Until they started singing.
Big house, and then
No, they started singing. Do do lo do do lo do.
Oh,
do
yeah.
lo, do,
What?
do,
The
do,
Stephen
do,
Curtis
do, do.
Chapman song.
I was like, okay, this has to be a Christian
This,
movie.
yeah, literally
Wait, which one?
every other
The one where
song
he
was written by Stephen Curtis
He's gonna
Chapman.
jump on the blob. Oh,
I'm
so
diving.
scary!
Oh,
to
yeah,
jump
that was
on a blob.
That it reminded me so much of the High School Musical desert scene, though. In High School Musical 2,
Yeah.
yeah, when he's
No,
like
that
running
can
through
never
the golf
compete.
course and stuff. That's what I thought of. And like every single High School Musical had that scene though, and that's what that reminded me of. They all had different versions of that scene.
What scene?
Is High
The
School
scene
Musical
where
1, 2,
Troy
and 3 just the same
Bolton-
plot repeated?
Yes, it is. It's just different settings.
Well,
They
dang.
decide where he like
just ruined it
decided
for
he
Jaden.
didn't know what he was supposed to be doing.
Is this the
And
one
so, like-
where he slaps the pool water?
Yeah, that's what it is
I
in the
remember that
second
part.
one, and then in
He's
the
like
third one.
stomping around the golf course, and you're like, yes,
Yes.
Troy.
Bet
And
on
then
it.
in the
Belt it
third
all
one,
out,
he's running
baby.
Bet
around the
on it.
school.
Yeah, bet on it.
He's running around the school, like tearing down all the
I thought that was
basketball
the first
flyers.
one.
That's the third one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
angsty
Third one.
protagonist
The angst-
desire
yeah.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's
Oh,
in
the
every
first
single
one's
one.
when Gabriella's having an emotional
Yeah,
breakdown.
Gabriella
Yeah.
has
Well,
it in the
that's
first
kind of
one.
like a pivotal like linchpin of every musical, though. You think about like any musical, they
That's
all
true.
have that. Yeah.
That's very true. But
every
like,
every
it's very
musical needs a moment
predominant.
where the protagonist sings their desire.
That's true.
Yeah,
But High School Musicals was angsty.
yeah, that's true.
Now that I'm thinking about it, Newsies is like that too. Dang, Blaine.
Every musical.
You just like burst my musical
those
bubble.
are the. I mean, those are like the basic, like the basic. Those are like the basic like outline things of you have a song that sets up the world. You have a song that tells you the protagonist's motivations. You have a song that tells you the antagonist's motivations. And then you have a song that resolves the tension between the two characters.
Is Sharpay the antagonist?
Yes.
Yeah.
What a
Would her
queen.
brother
What a
be the
queen.
antagonist too? 'Cause
Ryan.
Yeah.
In the
He-
first
he
one.
kinda
Ryan's
plays-
like
He
the sidekick.
came around in
Yeah.
the second one.
Ryan's the sidekick in the first one, and then he does the
in the
whole
second
like.
one, they do the little
He
baseball
kinda
scene,
switches
and he-
sides in
Yeah,
the
the
second
baseball
one.
scene
Was it
is
I
the
Don't
best scene. I don't
Dance?
dance.
Yeah.
That's the best song in the entire musical. For
Like,
Do they
Ryan
dance
starts
while they
playing.
sing the song?
Oh,
I don't
yes,
dance.
Yeah, obviously.
Of course. Why
Who
wouldn't they?
doesn't dance?
It's yeah.
What a good scene.
Do you guys remember what was it? Jump In, the Corbin Blue jump rope movie.
Yeah.
I
That's-
watched that.
That's honestly, I'm changing my pick. Jump In.
Jumping.
It's really good. I haven't watched that in forever.
It was so good. I watch it like twice a year.
Corbin Blue.
yeah.
He did like a solo movie, and it
Which
was
one is that?
Chad.
Chad.
In High School Musical.
Afro
Yeah.
dude.
Yes.
Afro dude.
It was
Yeah.
really
Chad.
good.
I
Yeah.
see.
I loved it.
He looks like a Chad. No, he doesn't.
Who?
Chad.
Chad. I never questioned it, but no, he does
If
not.
anything, I feel like Ryan looks like a Chad.
No. Ryan's so Ryan. Like, literally, every time I'm out in public with, like, Jaden or someone, and we see someone who, like, gives you Ryan vibes, or, like,
I guess that's
we
true.
just call him... No, the whole movie of A Week Away, the little antagonist guy, I don't even know what his name
I
was.
called him Sharpay.
I called him Ryan the whole movie.
I called him
cannot tell
Sharpay
you what
the
his
entire
name
movie.
is because the whole movie, me and Tina were like, oh, Ryan, stop.
Obviously, Troy Bolton was like the lead guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Gabriella was the lead girl. And
Yeah.
I
Just
felt
the
like
plot was stupid
I think that's. I think they
I
did
felt
that on
like
purpose.
The nerdy girl was Kelsey.
Yeah.
She was the Kelsey character. I felt like the blonde dude was the Sharpay character, and then the like best friend was Chad.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
And so
they literally
they-
just took the
They
characters
took
from
a
High School
Disney
Musical
plot and they were like,
put it in a
let's
Christian.
add Jesus songs in here.
I think that was
like
their
out of
point.
nowhere.
I feel like
It was out of nowhere. Like I remembered,
That's what made us.
that was the weirdest thing. I was like, he's jumping on a blob and he's singing.
It was out of nowhere. It had nothing to do with the plot. Like it would be this weird High School Musical romance, and then all of a sudden they're singing about God's grace, and I'm
Yeah.
like, where did this come
What is
from?
happening? I feel like the reason Netflix made it though was because they've had so much backlash recently.
Yeah,
From
because they
all
made
the,
that
like-
TV
Have they?
show of
Oh,
the
yeah.
girls
I didn't know that.
dancing
It
or
was, like, the
something.
little-
that was awful.
cuties.
Yeah.
That was
and
awful.
like there's actually there's stuff on Netflix that's so bad.
They
Yeah.
do have these like 2 shows. They're like documentaries about how in Christianity, especially in today's time, people are twisting or they're not following what the gospel says. Like they talk a lot about the health and wellness gospel or something like that, about prosperity gospel, and how people are twisting that and saying if you have enough faith and if you pray or if you have enough faith then you will be healed. It's like I remember Pastor Nathan saying one time he was in the hospital and there was a pastor there telling these parents while their child was probably dying, they said if you have enough faith then your child will live, and the child died, and then the parents were left questioning if they had enough faith. You know, it's that kind of stuff, and these pastors were like saying if you donate all this money to us, then you will be blessed, and all of these things, and these pastors were making a lot of money.
This is a Netflix documentary about
Let
prosperity
me look it
gospel?
up. I'm gonna look it up because I really liked
That
it,
sounds
and
kinda
there's
a couple
interesting.
of
And
documentaries
there's
when it
2
comes to
of them.
Christianity. I have a couple on my list, but I haven't had time to watch them.
I'm gonna
I'll have
look
to
it up.
look
I'm
I
looking
just
it
watched
up.
Seaspiracy.
What is that? I heard you talking about it
Seaspiracy?
earlier.
It was fascinating, and I'm never gonna eat seafood ever again. Never.
Oh, that was
Okay.
about the pollution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about plastic in the ocean.
You're never
that
gonna eat
wouldn't be
seafood
very
again.
hard
Nope.
for me because I
That's a
don't really
lie.
love seafood that much.
I know that's what I'm saying.
I'm
like,
not a big
like,
seafood.
Exactly.
I'll eat it
That's
if I'm
not a
at the
big
beach.
I love
sacrifice.
That's it.
seafood.
That's not a big sacrifice, and the fishing industry is the number one contributor to plastics in the ocean. Period.
The more
You know
Hmm.
the Great Pacific Garbage Patch,
Yes.
Oh, I've heard.
I've
I've
heard
seen
of it.
pictures of
I've
it.
seen it too.
the giant patch of plastic that's
It makes
floating in the
me
Pacific
sad.
Ocean.
That's all straws.
More than no,
just all
no,
straws.
Get
it's
metal
not.
straws.
That was a joke.
I
for you.
remember
More
that
than
a big
half.
deal.
More than half of the Pacific Ocean garbage patch is fishing nets and fishing equipment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But nobody says whenever they're like, "Oh, save the oceans." If somebody told you like, "Oh, save the ocean," what would you think you needed to do
The
to do
first thing I think of is like the Visco TikTok.
that? Yeah,
Don't use straws.
Exactly.
Which is why
Because of
Starbucks now has
turtles.
plastic
Everybody was
lids.
making
Every
that
time I
video
hear
about the
that, I'm
turtles and
like, crap, I
straws.
drink so many water bottles. I think that's where my mind goes.
Do you know how much of the plastic in the ocean is plastic straws?
Like 2%, not even, or
Nope.
something like that.
Point something.
0.03%.
I was right.
That's what drives me
Percent.
crazy.
0.03% is plastic
The
straws.
straws even aren't even
More
a
than
big deal.
46% is fishing nets and fishing equipment.
So why do I have to drink out of a paper straw when I like travel and stuff like that?
Well, see, that's the thing is there is not one thing that you can do, and I've been saying this since
Yeah, you've
before
told us.
Seaspiracy. There's not one thing that you can do to decrease your environmental impact on the planet.
You should tell big companies that. Because
Yeah, you should tell big companies that because you know who are the biggest contributors of carbon, complex carbons into the atmosphere,
Big
and
companies.
plastics in the oceans,
it big
and
companies?
deforestation,
Is it big
and
companies?
desalination of ocean water. Large Fortune 500 companies.
Yep.
Yes,
Big companies.
large industries.
Now that you've gone on your spiel, are you happy?
No, because I'm
Mind
upset.
changing the world
But
one
so
podcast at a
so
time.
by not eating
Mm-hmm.
seafood, that is the biggest way that you can stop the spread of plastic in the ocean.
The more you know.
What
Yeah.
is it?
I
What
guess
is
I
it
won't
when
eat
they
seafood.
cancel? Let's cancel seafood.
Cancel
Cancel
seafood.
it.
Cancel it.
Cancel it.
seafood. No
But
more
I
seafood.
like
I feel so much. I
seafood.
feel so superior now.
I'm still looking for that movie.
Cancel culture is so funny to me.
I don't
It is.
comprehend.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, no.
like the Dr. Seuss thing.
That thing is so stupid.
It's so
What?
stupid.
Oh, that was
What?
ridiculous. And
Am I this out
what
of
is
the
it,
loop?
Mr. Potato Head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, there's a
Why?
Mr. and a
What is
Mrs. Potato Head.
Yeah.
The Dr. Seuss thing, they decided to cancel him because apparently he's
No,
very
no.
racist.
You're incorrect.
What?
Yes.
Well, that's what
Nobody
I heard.
canceled Dr. Seuss.
Really?
You can't
The-
cancel Dr. Seuss.
No, it started with the government, and then everybody on Twitter was like, "Oh yeah,
No.
let's cancel." Yeah, I saw
Incorrect.
it.
I don't know.
You're incorrect.
Somebody explain this.
The publisher of Dr. Seuss's books, Dr. Seuss's family, decided that they would stop printing 6 of his dozens of children's books. They would stop printing 6 for having very racially insensitive characters depicted in them. The company themselves decided to stop printing a very small portion of Dr. Seuss books.
But Green Eggs and Ham is still up for
Yes.
grabs.
Yeah.
Because.
Exactly. They're all Dr. Seuss books nobody ever read anyways.
Okay.
So people were like, they're canceling Dr. Seuss. Go buy all the Dr. Seuss that you can. And Dr. Seuss, their profits went way, way up because people started buying them. So if anything,
Good
they
for
like,
them.
they
I heard that they stopped printing things because it was racist, but
Yeah.
the other part of that narrative I heard was the White House didn't do anything with Dr. Seuss on the
read
read today, and then Twitter
Yeah.
moms decided to come out and say, "Yeah, cancel Dr. Seuss,"
yeah.
and so all of the Dr. Seuss lovers were like, "Oh, we're not gonna have Dr. Seuss anymore. Let's
Yeah.
go."
No. What initially happened was Dr. Seuss, the company themselves,
Okay.
decided to stop printing 6
So
books.
Okay.
that's how it started.
Yes.
Well, then what's the
Which
thing
is-
with the potato head?
They decided
They
They-
decided to make him gender
now.
neutral.
Yeah,
But
to
there's
give
2, right?
I know.
to give
anymore.
no to
Yeah,
give
there's a Mrs.
children,
Potato Head.
No, to give children
Not anymore.
more options when creating their potato head.
But isn't
They
that how
put
it
a
is
single
now?
potato head in the box, and they put pieces that are female and male in it, and you can make whatever you want.
Well, I mean,
I feel like
that's how it was in
part
preschool.
of-
Whenever you played
Yeah.
with the potato head, anyway.
See, Hasbro has said to be more inclusive of all lifestyles. Like they give you all the pieces to make 2 mommies
mix
and
and
2 daddies
match.
if you want to. But they're really smart because what they're doing now is before they had to package Mr. Potato Heads and Mrs. Potato Heads, and now they can do all that in the same box.
less plastic.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it saves them a lot of money. That's the reason why they're
Smart.
doing it.
It doesn't save the ocean.
It doesn't save the ocean.
Unfortunately.
But I'm pretty sure potato head toys are a pretty insignificant portion of the plastics in the
Probably.
ocean.
Do people even buy those anymore?
Did
I
you
feel
know that
like
you-
kids don't play with potato heads anymore.
I
don't
haven't seen
know.
one
I
in
agree
so
with that.
long.
Did you know that you eat about a credit card's worth of plastic every week? In your
What?
drinking
Don't
water?
tell me that.
In my drinking
What? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm gonna die of cancer.
There are so many microplastics in the ocean that we cannot physically filter them out. And so
Interesting.
you have so much microplastic in your water that you ingest about a credit card's worth of plastic every week.
Interesting.
Thanks,
The average
Blaine.
one.
Thanks.
I lived
Yep.
this long, and I didn't need to know that.
Which is why we need to get the plastic out of the ocean.
Did
Stop putting
you
your plastic in the
know
ocean.
That
Stop.
whenever
And
Guys,
stop using
stop.
single-use plastics.
Stop using
there's literally a
plastic.
water bottle right there.
Single-use
Anyways.
plastic.
That's not mine.
Most people
No.
are
I
not
don't
going to use
think-
that multiple times. Anyways,
Yeah.
did you know that when
I did know
the
that.
weather people... So you don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I know
Blaine.
that I know it, though.
Okay. When the weather people say there's like a 5% chance of rain, they're not saying there's like a 5% chance that it may or may not rain. It's saying it's going to rain. It's only going to rain in 5% of the area, though.
Right.
Oh, you told me that.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
I blew my sister's mind the other day.
What?
But-
She was like,
I
I've
didn't
gone
know
23
that.
years of my life not knowing
But
that,
if
and
you
I didn't need
Think
to know
about it. It's the same thing.
But it's not.
I mean, it
Yeah.
kind of is, but
Because
that still hurts my brain.
there's a 5% chance that it can rain in any specific portion of the given area that the news people cover.
Wow.
But that just means that your chances of getting rained on today are 5%.
Wow.
So
The more you
Pretty
know.
crazy.
yeah.
Did y'all know that ice does not cool your drink, but that your drink heats the ice.
My chemistry teacher
That's true.
in high school.
That blew my mind.
It's
My
both.
chemistry teacher in
No,
high
it's
school
not.
taught me that there is no such thing
No,
as
it's
cold.
not.
There's just
There's
absence
absence
of
of
heat.
heat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
correct.
he said that if
That
we
is
ever
true.
said it was cold, he was going to throw something at us because cold does
What
not
does he
exist.
want us to say?
That
Oh,
it's
so
not hot.
absence
Absence
of
of
heat
hot
in this room.
Well, I
That's-
would just say the opposite of hot because then he can't throw something at you.
It's the opposite of
chilly
hot.
in here.
'Cause we're not
Remember,
saying it's
like
cold.
40 minutes ago? When...
Yeah.
We said,
Then you went
okay,
on
we
your
need to wrap
plastic
things
tangent.
up.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
That was way
Yeah.
after. That
Don't
was
put
way
this
after
on
High
us,
School Musical
Blaine.
tangent.
Blame
No,
us.
we said a week away, and you were like, "Oh, speaking of a week away,
No,
stop eating seafood."
Y'all started talking about Netflix documentaries.
Oh,
I brought
I
up-
still haven't found that.
And I
can't
brought up
remember.
Seaspiracy, which is funny because, like, on TikTok, they keep on roasting the people who named the documentary Seaspiracy. Because they're like, you could have just called it Conspiracy.
See.
Oh,
It's right there. And so
Why didn't they do that? It's just right there.
that's so
it
bad.
makes the Netflix people look so dumb. Like, they're
Oh my
working so
goodness.
hard to, like, fit the word "C" into the word conspiracy.
No,
That's really funny.
I didn't even notice that. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some big brains in that room.
Yep. Yep.
Interesting.
Okay, we have to be done now.
Do we really?
Goodbye.
No.
Goodbye.
No.
This is the end. Goodbye.
Okay,
I
bye.
refuse.